You have rights. Can you give my friend's wife here a brief breakdown of your story there?
Yeah, what did you do?
She's wondering.
Uh,
Just
Yeah,
curious.
let's have a look at you too, man. You got that avatar up all night.
I
Yeah.
know. I just don't like to put it. I just don't like to be on there that much, you know. But anyways, what I did was I was being harassed by this county worker named Jim Basinger since 2010, and started out with him and his wife trying to give me dog at large tickets, and I beat four of them in court. And the fourth one, the justice of the peace told them that if they complained about me, their complaints would be considered harassment. And then they went from 2000, basically that's gone on from 2010 all the way to 2022 with no complaints. Basically because, you know, this last time I defended myself against the guy, but anyways, I started recording him in 2015, and then our family moved away from the town and the county from 2015 to 2018 is when I moved back, and I didn't have very much of a problem from the guy up until the point where I was using the local dump, and the guy found out I was cleaning my yard, taking stuff to the local dump, and then he went and acquired the keys to the local dump. And when I went to try to get the keys to the dump, they said that they didn't have them, that I had to go see Jim Basinger about the keys, which is the county guy. So now all of a sudden, my harasser, now I have to go and ask my harasser for the keys to the local dump. Otherwise, I can't dump any trash. And then when I went to get the keys, he told me that the EPA had shut down the local dump and wasn't allowing the owner of that site to allow people to dump there no more. And then my security cameras on my house caught my neighbor's chickens getting attacked by some dogs. And then I gave a thumb drive of the video to my neighbor of his chickens getting attacked by some dogs. And it turned out that it was Jim Basinger's daughter's dogs. The daughter's like 40, 50 years old. And turned out it was his daughter's dogs. And basically the harassment started back up in the end of 2021. And basically in December 2021, he made his first threat to me. He said he says, are you recording this? I said, yeah, I'm recording this fucking shit. And he goes, oh, well, that camera's going to be stuffed up your ass. And let it be known that this is Jim Basinger saying this. Something like that. I got it on my YouTube channel. Next, all of a sudden, I went and placed a complaint with the local water lady, which is the nearest county representative in the county building that's down the street. I placed a complaint for threats and harassment against Jim Basinger, and nothing was done for those complaints. That complaint. That was January 7th, 2022. And then in April 2022, I got him, I was down to place another complaint, and he basically flipped me off from behind the public glass, telling me that there's my First Amendment, and that he said he threatened me again, that he was going to stuff my camera up my ass. And then in May 2022, it was May 6th, 2022. My wife was going to go and gas up my truck at the local gas station. And they told my wife to come back between 9 and 10 the next morning, or 8 and 9 or something, 9 and 10 or something. So the next morning, they said that Lee would help her. And we liked the guy, Lee. and he's the owner of the bar there, and he runs the gas station and the motel. And we asked, or we were, me and my wife had a conversation because my wife is like handicapped. She had like 3 strokes, and doesn't have the left use of her left leg and her left left arm. So she she told me that Lee was going to help her in the morning between 9 and 10. So we got all happy that Lee was going to help us. And so the next morning, which was May 7th, my wife took off at like 9 o'clock to go get the gas in the truck. And my brother-in-law went with her. And when they came back, they said that Jim Basinger was touching my truck and pumping the gas into my truck. And I've already told them to not have Jim Basinger anywhere around me. But I guess my brother-in-law got out of the truck to go talk to Lee Green about getting the gas, and my wife went down to the gas station to park the truck at the gas station. And I guess Jim Basinger was working at the gas station that day for some reason. He's never worked at the gas station before that time. But all of a sudden that day, when they tell my wife to go down there between 9 and 10, all of a sudden he's working down there. And my wife and my brother-in-law came back to me and was like, Willis, we're sorry, we didn't know that Jim was going to be there, and he pumped the gas in your truck and was touching your truck and stuff. And so I told my brother-in-law to grab his cameras and shit, and I grabbed my cameras and shit, and we went to the gas station to protest Jim Basinger. And basically we get there and we start protesting Jim Basinger, and we're using our words and we're using our cameras and we're standing on the public easement and we're protesting Jim Basinger. And that was when 3 ladies out on their morning walk walked up and started counter protesting us. And one of the ladies was the mother and one of the ladies was the daughter, and then they were out there walking with their friend. Well, they started counter protesting us, and there was like a argument going on, and then the daughter, she called her husband, and the husband comes up the street. You can see him in the video coming up the street in his white Ford truck, and he parks the truck in the middle of the street, and he gets out and gets in my brother-in-law's face. And he gets in my brother-in-law's face like he was going to do something to my brother-in-law. And then his wife comes up to him and says, "Not him, that other motherfucker." And she pointed towards me. I was standing like 50 yards away. She says, "Okay, we're going to kick him in the nuts. We're going to knock the cameras out of his hands. We're going to attack him. And when the cops get here, we're going to tell the cops that he attacked us." And then they go from that point right there where they just plotted to attack me and walk the 50 yards to where I'm at. And then they do yank the cameras out of my hands and start attacking me. I defended myself against their asses. I basically defended myself so good that they were, standing off away for a while at one point. And then that was where Jim Basinger made his third threat to me. But this time, on the third threat to me, that he was going to stuff my camera up my ass, he started walking at me. So I had to walk backwards. I finally stopped and told him, "You know what? I'm going to defend my fucking self. Stop telling me you're going to stick my camera up my fucking ass." Well, then, blase, we had a conversation and everything. And then the lady had called her son up to the scene of basically their attack. It was the scene of our protest, their counter protest, which led to their attack, their plotted attack. And then the son came up with a .357 in his backpack and the mom got the 357 and tried to come after me. I ran behind the store, and she pointed it at my wife, and then she turned the gun to Adam and told him to walk away or something. And then when he started walking away, she followed him behind him, and then drew the gun down to the back of his head when she was standing like 8 feet away from him, and then shot the gun over his right shoulder. And then basically the cops came probably 15 or 20 minutes after that, and they seen our videos and basically arrested the mother. The mother got bailed out within 3 hours of her arrest, and I guess the bail was $50 bail. Turned out they prosecuted her for over a year, supposedly prosecuted her for over a year. They only called us, the victims of the crime, to court one time, and it wasn't even a real court. It was some mock-ass thing. But that's all separate to my charges that I'm charged with. Well, anyways, that was May 2022. That was the third time he threatened me. First time he walked at me while threatening me. And then that, which leads us to October 24th, 2022, where they were working on the water pipes down the street from my house, like within 100 yards of my home. And we went down there with our cameras to watch what they were doing. And then the Jim Basinger guy showed up, and he basically parked his truck in the middle of the street and got out and told me he was going to stuff my camera up my ass again. I told him to stop, to quit coming at me, and he wouldn't quit coming at me. He wouldn't quit telling me he was going to stuff my camera up my ass. So I fucking pushed him with one hand, and he caught my sleeve and pulled me towards him. And then the other agent on the scene, Dylan Otteson, split him up from me. And then he acted like he was going to go back to work, but then he never even climbed in the hole. And then I started narrating to the camera about he's been harassing me since 2015. And he says, since 2015, a lot sooner than that. So he basically doesn't even deny he's been harassing me. He just says that it's been a lot longer of a harassment than what I said right there on the camera. Basically, then he comes at me again, walking all crazy at me, like stumbling forward, some weird stumbling forward thing, come walking at me again. So I defended myself with one push, but this time he does like a soccer flop where he acts into his fall. You know, instead of grabbing my sleeve, he falls down on his own. And then the cops showed up. They seen the videos that we had, and they charged him with assault for making threats. But then they charged me with battery, carrying out the threats. And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't threaten nobody. How am I carrying out threats? He was the one threatening. And then basically after that, nothing ever came of the charges against him for assault, threatening me with the ability to make good. That's what the deputy on scene said that he was going to do. Well, then the next day, basically that was a scene where that guy committed a crime. He threatened me with the ability to make good. So he committed a crime that day, but the next day, the county had him over to the place again, 100 yards from my house, or within. And then, but there was way more public agents down there, and they were like there to protect their public agents. me and my brother-in-law took our cameras down there, and this time it was a full-on protest. I was protesting the shit out of them. Basically, fuck you, I was using vulgar language under duress in an act of protest. And that was when the deputy came over and attacked me from my left side. He basically blindsided me from the left, shoved me. And I did a protest move called pushback, which I pushed his shoulder. All this time I'm holding a phone, I'm holding a camera. So basically when I defended myself against Jim Basinger's threats, I pushed with one hand because the other hand was holding a phone, a camera. And then same with the deputy. The deputy had no cameras in his hands. He had both of his hands on me when he attacked me. I pushed him back with one hand, like kind of basically a nudge. It wasn't even a shove. It was just like an act of defiance. It was a pushback. It was a protest for him just, attacking me. He basically attacked me, and I pushed him back in defense. And then he slams me down on the ground and says that I'm under arrest for battery on a peace officer. And that was my initial arrest. I went to jail I was in jail for 6 days. And I got bailed out with the help of Chile. And basically the people who watch Chile's channel and seen my unlawful arrest. And then after I was bailed out, that was October 24th and 25th that happened. And then 6 days later, I was bailed out after the 25th. And then after that, they never brought no charges against Jim Basinger for his threats with the ability to make good, which was the deputy called it assault. I have it on video where they told Jim Basinger, I watched the videos. What you were doing was a credible threat. It's on my YouTube channel. You can see the video. The deputy basically tells Jim Basinger that the reason why he wasn't charging me with battery on an elderly person was because he was threatening me. So initially they were going to try to attempt to charge me with battery on the elderly, but didn't, because he was threatening me. And then, so at this time, I'm still only charged with battery on a peace officer, when actually it was the peace officer that battered me. I wasn't under arrest. I wasn't under detainment. The deputy walks up, shoves me back. That was an attack. He attacked me. He used unwanted touch. He used unwanted physical force against me. When I wasn't under arrest, he had no lawful reason. I wasn't under detainment or arrest. Therefore, it was a battery on. Police brutality. Then in May, I told my public defender, which was Nye County official, that I didn't want the Dylan Audison anywhere around my house. He was following the footsteps of Jim Basinger, and he was a state witness against me when he claims that he didn't see the deputy push me, but he sees that I pushed the deputy. Basically, they were trying to lie, and hopefully I didn't have it on video, that I pushed the deputy, but the deputy never pushed me. But only problem is I had it on 4 different angles: the body camera of the deputy, my niece's camera, my brother-in-law's camera, and my camera. I had 4 different angles of the deputy pushing me first. and me defending myself with a push. So next, in basically in April, March or April, I put in complaints against Dylan Audison to not come around my house. So in May 30th, they didn't have him come around my house for like over a whole month. And then from the time I put in my complaint about him, but then on May 30th, he came around my house acting like he was checking the meters. And I went out there, I took my camera and my brother-in-law with his camera, and we went out there, and I basically protested him on public, in the public alley, on the public easement. I used my camera and protested Dylan Audison. And basically the county used that protest and charged me with stalking when I was, the indictment paperwork says that I was, the paperwork that they showed that they give to you to show the charges that they're charging you with, the presentation of the charges. It says that I was, without lawful authority, was following Dylan Audison, yelling, "You cocksucking bitch ass boy, you're at my house." And basically none of that's an unlawful act. I have the right to call him a cocksucking bitch ass boy. That's criticism. Even if it's not true, I don't have to believe it's true. I don't have to believe that he's actually a cocksucking bitch ass boy. It was just criticism, which is our right to do so. We're allowed to criticize our government officials. Next, all of a sudden, I have the right to follow him in public areas because I'm recording him in public areas. That's an act of the free press. So basically, they charged me with stalking for conducting lawful acts. I was authorized and within the law to do everything I was doing, and they charged me with stalking. So that was my second charges. But then when I wouldn't take their deal, they were trying to give me disorderly conduct, a misdemeanor. I wouldn't take the deal. So then over a year later, basically, it was November 2023, they went ahead and charged me with abuse of the elderly. And they cited my push of Jim Basinger on October 24th, which was the day I defended myself against Jim Basinger's threat and his walking at me, which was a threat with ability to make good, because he was the exigent circumstance of him threatening me while he was walking at me. I defended myself from him on October 24th, and they turned around over a year later and charged me with abuse of the elderly. So basically, they're making me out to be somebody who pushed a deputy, some cop abuser, an elderly abuser, and a stalker. That's what they're making me out to be. When it all started with me complaining on January 7th, 2022, that Jim Basinger was harassing and threatening me. And so basically they disparaged my concerns, they disparaged my my complaints, and then entrapped me with their crimes, and then charged me with crimes for the defenses I placed on them for their crimes. Then when I was supposed to be going to trial in January, in December, the public pretender, which is Nye County agent, Kelly Blatnick, sent me an email that said when they get me into custody that they would bind me, gag me, and medicate me. So the next time I would be in their custody was January. In December, the Nye County agent sent me a threat letter that says that when they get me into custody, they're going to bind me, gag me, and medicate me. I don't know how many people are going to sit there and go into their custody So, you know, that was the last draw. That was where I said, no, hell no, I have to flee for my life. I have to flee for my safety. It's like number 22 of 48 Laws of Power. Rule number 22 is surrender. You flee so that you can gain strength and come back to fight another day after you've, you know, studied, you know, done everything that you can do from afar to be able to fight your case. But you surrender by fleeing from, you know, the dangers that the opposition is you know, putting on you, which it's pretty telling how I can't even go home to my house. But if you go to Nye County, Kelly Blatnick will still be a public defender. Thomas Boney will still be the deputy in Nye County, you know, possibly even shoving people to this day unlawfully. Dylan Otteson probably no doubt still works for Nye County as a public works guy. You know, Jennifer Clapper, she just got her justice of the peace position back, uncontested. They say she was uncontested in her re-election bid when she's got so many complaints against her. And you know, all of them are still you know, at their homes. I bet you, all of them are still employed by the county. But I'm the only one that's fleeing from my fucking life. I'm the only one that was threatened. I'm the only one that was shoved. I'm the only one that was being harassed. They're all public officials. We have the right to record them in the course of their public duties. We have a right under the Sullivan decision to criticize them. So that's where I'm at now. But yeah, are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. I'm here, man.
Well, that's the whole entire recorded story.
That was great, man. Thank you for that. Let me see. I gave you the floor for the layout. Let me see. Adjust this here. That was a good one, man.
It's basically a story that consists from all the way from 2010 with this Jim Basinger all the way to 2024. Knee deep in it. It's almost already 2025.
How many years now?
He started his harassment against me in 2010, and now it's going on to 2025.
That's too fucking long, man. Too fucking long.
Yeah.
14 years with Jim Basinger?
Yeah.